All right. We've got recording started. All right. So now, I don't know if you can still see us in the background here or
The screen's up now.
Yeah, we just see your presentation.
So in here, I also have Vance, I've got John and Bobby. These guys were working our drive-through drop-off here. So forgive me, I might be a little muffled with the masks on, but we wanted to try and get as many people involved here right now as possible. This is a pretty quick, easy introduction. We've got a lot of experienced managers here on this meeting and at all of our drop locations. But I really thought it was worth it this election to go through and to cover a lot of the specifics because this has been a very, very highly publicized election, to put it mildly. So we'll just start with some of our quick updates on some of our things we've covered in previous meetings, but managers will need to pick up certain supplies the Monday before election day. You'll coordinate with Bobby and the judges are going to meet at those drop locations. And then you want to make sure that we have time to set up signage, put up any instructions and set up equipment. Drop off locations, you can't leave the premises where the drop off location is during the hours you're assigned to work. We've got a few drive-through drop-off locations that have inside bathrooms. You have enough staff at these locations that you can have 2 people managing the ballot box at all times while somebody could use the restroom. Now, obviously, if there's an emergency, get in touch with Marjorie, myself, or anybody here at the elections office, and we will have you take care of that emergency and send in somebody to cover your shift. And then I have a lot of split shifts for this. We wanted to make sure that we had it scheduled so that judges could work a part day if possible, because we were not sure what the weather was going to be like in November, and we wanted to make sure we were prepared. COVID-19 protocols. As a requirement, all elections employees are required to wear a mask, enforce social distancing, and cleaning. You must also enforce these requirements for voters and observers which are present. Now there's 2 different areas of this. We've got indoor and drive-through areas. So where it's indoor, we've added some masks are required signs to the indoor drop locations, and we'll also have face masks available for a voter. Now, I have already had somebody tell me that they are exempt from wearing a mask. I don't want anybody to get stuck in a HIPAA nightmare. Don't ask anybody why they're exempt. This is a ballot drop-off location. You could have another judge take that ballot from that voter, deposit it in the drop box, and ask them to then leave that area. If they demand to put it in the box themselves, you could say we have multiple drive-through ballot drop boxes throughout town, and you could go there where you would not need to wear a mask because you are exempt from that requirement. But if they want to come inside a drop location, we need to require that they wear a mask as is mandated by the governor's directive as well as the city county health guidance. Jumping into some more standard stuff that you guys all know on here, but I want to cover. No political opinions. We don't want to hear you discussing issues, candidates, campaigns, anything similar to that while you're serving as an election judge. Your job is to help make sure that voters get a chance to cast those ballots, and we do not want anybody possibly influencing an election judge or an election voter for this election. So with this, if we do get those reports, we will ask you to leave and you could be charged with the official misconduct. Now, as I've always stated, we take this a step ahead of time. If you're going to be at a drop location, please don't come entirely dressed in blue, entirely dressed in red. Make sure if you're reading a magazine, it does not say candidate X expected to win election. Any of those areas that could influence a voter. And no, these are ballot drop-off locations, but we may have voters who would like to vote their ballot there, if that is a possibility. And so we don't want to influence any voters. Dress in layers. Most of our drop locations are held in an entryway or a hallway, and the temperature fluctuates considerably every time that door is opened or closed. If you're at a drive-through drop-off, Jason and Jeff are both over at Clearwater Credit Union. You're going to be outside all day. In our tents, we've got a heater for you. We've got some lanterns to help with the lighting. But we want to make sure that you have comfortable shoes, you have layers, you have a cushion for those chairs, because if they have those chairs out there, they're going to be those metal folding chairs for you. We want to make sure that we've got all of these materials together for you and that you're comfortable and ready for election day.
Can I bring my own chair?
Absolutely,
Yes.
please.
Okay.
Meals. Bring all your meals unless somebody's going to deliver to you. I love this. This is older. You may not leave to pick up food. Now we have Uber. They will bring you food just about anywhere. But we did do some extra work here. Part of our large grant we got included some snacks to keep your guys' blood sugar up so those ballots can keep coming in. So we'll put those in your supplies so that you have some snacks available for you and all your workers on election day. Entertainment. It is hard to say how busy we're going to be at the Spring Meadow Fire Station throughout the day on election day. So we want to make sure that you've got your book, your knitting, your cards. Now note, I don't want you playing cards with another person passing those back and forth, but make sure you have something to pass the time. I've got a feeling if you're working with Vance out at the fairgrounds, you're not going to be playing any cards throughout the day. Our main goal is to serve voters. We want to make sure that we are prepared to help serve voters. The last thing I want to hear is they were so engaged in a game of pinochle, I had to ask them if I could drop a ballot off today. Okay, report to your drop off at 6 a.m. I love this. I was chatting with Bobby about this. Some of you have already made differing arrangements. Well, the big aspect with this is everybody who is a manager here should have tested an express vote and know how to set them up. With this being new equipment, that is my biggest concern, is that we are set up for voters both with the express vote drop boxes as well as all of our supplies by 7 a.m. So I'm going to leave that to you. I like to err on the side of caution at 6 a.m. Feel free to contact Bobby and Marjorie, especially if you've already made other plans.
Bradley, I'm sorry for interrupting. This is Kirsten.
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing the drive-through drop. There isn't going to be any express voting there, correct?
Nope.
No.
So,
Okay, good. Because I have
Nope.
not had the training on that machine, so I got a little nervous there for a sec.
no, you're good. That's our one location that we did not get an express vote. I simply couldn't power it. And
Okay.
Bradley,
yeah, go ahead.
this is Tammy, and I didn't make it to go and do the new express voting either. So can I come in down to the office and have a quick tutorial, or?
You bet. So I got a little setup and a write-up on that. To get a quick tutorial, we'll need to get you here at a designated time. Follow up with us afterwards. We'll get Nathan to give you a training.
Bradley,
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Can we insist that voters use masks if they're using express voting?
Yes, absolutely. And we make sure that if they have that and they're within that 6 foot, whenever you are within a 6 foot distance, we want to make sure. Now, your guys are specific. And the one area that I found to be hard when we were setting up and testing and making videos with disability rights, if you need to use a sip and puff, a mask is a barrier to accessing that ballot.
Yeah.
So there are some voters who will need to be able to access that sip and puff without that. The big aspect is specifically for your location, Jeff, because you're not indoor, we don't have those signs and those additional masks. We want to be able to provide as much assistance as needed, but then be able to give them that 6 foot space to cast that ballot. I'll make sure we have some extra masks at anywhere that has an express vote, just to make sure that if anybody comes and needs to use it, we can have everybody as safe and healthy as possible. So I'm writing down this note right now because I'll make sure that we get a few extra just disposable masks in at our drive-through locations too.
Bradley, this is Kirsten. My only other question is, since we won't have the voting machines at the drive-through at McCormick, do we still need to be there at 6? And is the tent going to already be set up, or do we need to set it up?
So all of our drive-through drop-offs are getting big, heavy-duty tents from Party Time, and they're going to get them set up. McCormick is getting one set up on election morning. Check in with Bobby. 6:30 is going to be a way better time for you.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I love this because I stole this slide from the previous one. You are all managers. You will want to check in and swear the oath for those who come to your location. Vance, for you in particular, you're going to be ping ponging. Get somebody sworn in at the main one and run to the other one.
Sure.
All right. PPMs must be identifiable. We've got those fantastic flattering orange smocks for everybody, and we'll have them for all of the workers inside at the drop locations. At the drive-throughs, we'll have some bright orange vests for the outside locations to denote a manager. I have been working closely with multiple political parties that would like to staff observers at different locations, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but I want them to know who is an election worker and who is in charge at that area. You must swear the official oath. It's going to be in the binder with the time cards. The managers will all get sworn in on Monday when they pick up supplies from Bobby, and then anybody who picks up those supplies can then start the chain of swearing in other judges. Seal logs, security logs. You're going to love this. Kirsten, you don't know this. Many others do. You do not need to place or remove any seals on our new equipment on election day. All you'll need to do is verify those seals. Unless you mess up the code that will be in your binder to get that equipment set up. Then you'll need to remove that seal and then apply a new seal after you've updated your equipment. I have worked so hard on seal logs with pictures to describe where it goes, how you pull it out, and to limit the number of times that you need to place those seals. This is the start of something that's going to be really fantastic as we have polling places open up in the future. So you want to go ahead.
Bradley, it's Kirsten. With ours just being a drop-off, is the only seal log going to be for the ballot box?
Yeah, and that'll be handled. You'll put those plastic seals on there, and the drive team are going to take care of that.
Okay, so I really don't have a whole lot to worry about with the seal log.
Heck no. And most people are just going to verify that seal, and that's all they need to do. So
Okay,
we're
great.
really great on that. If you have an express vote, we'll need an ADA table. We're working closely with all of those locations to make sure we've got a table available. We are going to bring some tables. So Jeff, Jason, you guys have a table that's adjustable height for that express vote to help make sure that it will work correctly.
Hey, Bradley,
Yes, sir.
at the Adams Center, the last time, for the registration, the auxiliary site, they just swapped ballot boxes. So they brought new ballot boxes. And we did not open them or seal them. Is that going to be the case this time?
We got a little plastic seal. And Bobby, help me, are those on there from the area, or do you put those on in the morning?
No, the seals are already on the ballot boxes.
Yep.
So when you pick them up, they're already sealed.
Yep, they'll come to you sealed, and then we will break those seals with the driver teams. They're going to have a seal log, but because the driver teams go to so many locations, we can't just swap that box. We wanted to make sure that they could empty them into the blue bag, and then we'll follow those seal procedures. The driver teams are all trained really well on that. And when you break that seal, we got it witnessed, recorded, and we place a new seal before they take off.
We also have extra blue bags in your supplies in case your box gets too full before the drive team comes to you.
That sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Managers will follow up the express votes, following those procedures and guidelines to them. We'll get you trained in there, Tammy, and then everybody else has seen it. We've got it down pretty good. We need to test our express vote. Every person will be given an express vote, an envelope with the activation cards inside that, as well as 2 test ballots. You have 2 test ballots in case you make an error. You only need to test 1 of those ballots. We have a sample ballot that you can mirror your results onto. Because it's a 2-page ballot, we want you to mark off those results with another judge and then confirm that the express vote has printed out correctly, and then fill out that form. We went through the training and got most of you in on this. Tammy will walk you through that in detail. I love this because I'm stealing these slides from other areas. There's not a lot of other setup duties while managers are getting those express votes. It's just the ballot box. All right, signage. Indoor drop locations are going to have signage for the doorway. They're going to have yellow arrows to help navigate people through. We've got some of our locations with a voter entrance, voter exit sign because they're new locations. In general, these are going to be very similar setups. Bobby's got the contact info for your building if you want to get in touch with them beforehand. Jason, I was calling and touching base with you. You are my contact info for the building at Clearwater. At all of our new locations, we've made sure to confirm, get that contact info out, and they are prepped and ready for you on election day. I would encourage you to reach out to Bobby and just introduce yourself to that person to make sure that we've got a great relationship for election day. We've been doing follow-up as well. Our drive-through locations, we're trying to make this easy on you. We've got numbered signs and maps that are going to help with this. We're still working on it a little bit, but we've got it pretty well together. So, Tom, you're going to have sign number 1, and that's going to go at 6th and Arthur. Sign number 2 at Maurice and 6th. And then sign number 3 right where that green sticker is, so that you can take those signs. They'll be set up and prepped for you and help make sure that it is a very successful setup in the morning before election day. We've got some sandwich board triangle signs, as I like to call them. They need a sandbag inside them to keep them set up. And then we also have some yard sign style signs that'll say things like, please stay to the left. At the fairgrounds, we got a really great setup where we may be able to navigate essentially 4 lines of traffic the way we've got it set up. We're doing everything we can to make this flow smoothly on election day. All right, ballot drop off. Anybody with a ballot's going to be able to drop off their ballot at any location. They're not counted at the drop locations. They'll all be delivered to the election center for signature verification, and then they go to the fairgrounds for tabulation. The number 1 job that you guys have there is to make sure that every ballot that gets dropped off will be counted because the voter has correctly voted that ballot. Look out for blue secrecy envelopes. They must be in an affirmation envelope, and any ballot without that is going to get treated as provisional, and then we're going to have to work with those voters if we have those issues. So we have blank envelopes, and they can have a printed name and address on there, and then we can put that secrecy in. So you're going to have a supply of outer envelopes for the signature, as well as blue secrecy envelopes in case a voter comes and just tries to give you a naked ballot. So we want to make sure when voters are dropping off ballots, you're asking them, did you sign your affirmation envelope? Thank you very much. Please proceed forward and exit to the right. Sound pretty familiar, Vance? That's all pretty standard, but I really want to cover that and make sure, because with ballots coming back, every single voter is being issued a vote by mail ballot. Every single ballot must be signature verified. And if we're getting back a ballot from your ballot box at 8 p.m., we may be calling that voter to tell them they forgot to sign at 1 a.m. so that they have time to get that corrected. It is also required by law that there is a log of ballots deposited at the drop-off location. I'm going to have one judge record the name of the voter on the ballot being dropped off, and that log is included in your materials. We only need the voter name. So if you've worked at previous drop locations, we are working hard to streamline this process. Just the voter name, not the person delivering or signature. We work closely with the county attorney to deem what was required by law. We have found that it was just a list of the ballots being dropped off. This way, just the judge is holding that clipboard, and we never hand that over to a voter and risk that transfer of COVID-19 between voters, judges, and other voters.
Bradley, I'm a little confused by that last slide.
Great. So here's an example of that log. At your place, you're going to have the drop-off site. For you, Kirsten, you're going to write McCormick Park, and you'll issue this to a judge on the clipboard, and they're going to go through, and every person who drops off a ballot, you're going to say, what's the name on that ballot? Bradley Seaman, and you're going to write that in section number 1 here. Then the next voter would go into section number 2. Every voter's name on that ballot should be listed on this log. Does that help clarify?
Oh gosh, I didn't realize that. So every single person that drives through to drop off a ballot, we need to write their name on this list before their ballot's put in the box.
The name of the voter that is on that ballot. It doesn't necessarily matter the name of the person dropping it off, but by law, we must keep a list. In the past at drop-off locations, we've requested the name of the voter on the ballot, the name of the person delivering the ballot, and the signature of the person delivering the ballot.
But now we're just taking the envelope, putting the name that's on the envelope on this list, and then dropping their envelope into the ballot box.
Exactly. This helped us so much expedite that process for the primary, streamlined it, made the form a little bit better for the general. And then the big aspect is when I was helping out for a little bit, when Vance got backed up in the primary, we'd go in there and we'd be like, give me the name on the ballot. We write it down, toss it in the box. Name on the ballot, write it down, toss it in the box.
I had no idea you guys did this. I always thought they were just taking the ballots and dropping them in the box.
So it's only required at a drop-off site.
Okay, that's why I missed it, because if people came into a polling place during a normal election, they could put it in a drop box without us having to write the name down.
Exactly. And if they drop off at the election administrator's office, as tens of thousands of voters in Missoula already have, we did not need to keep that list. We then marked it as dropped off in person at our office, and the system generated a list.
Gotcha.
But since we have 11 drop-off locations, in order to designate which ballots came from which locations, this is required by law. And we really tried to streamline it.
Thank you for explaining that to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Bradley,
Yes, sir.
at the Adams Center last week, we had several Lake County ballots, and we gave them instructions. Is there anything that the elections is going to do with ballots from other districts?
On election day, we can't do anything with them. So keep an eye out for those Ravalli County ballots. Those are in the brown one. The Lake County and the other ballots, we need to get those to the proper county. That is a great question.
Lake County, they do. I just had a bunch of them.
When we are going through and processing them right now, if we've got them from a voter, we'll mail them to the county for them because they're all postage paid. On election day, if they drop off another county's ballot with us here in Missoula, there is no possibility it will make it there. You want to be on the lookout, not just for blue secrecy envelopes or naked ballots, but other state or county ballots to help make sure that we're helping voters be successful. Great question, Tom.
So the pink envelopes were Lake County and the brown envelopes were Ravalli County.
Yep, exactly. And if it's not one of our envelopes, which is going to have the flap that covers the signature and the pink top across the top of it, the ones we're issuing are green. The ones voters have are pink.
Yeah.
We're going to want to make sure that they get that where it needs to go. Now, this drop-off site roster should accompany those ballots. The driver team is going to say, may I please empty out your ballot drop box? Can I get those rosters to come over here? So when you have a driver team come through to pick up, they're going to pick up that roster and those ballots. So you'll see total number sent to the elections office. Well, Vance, you're probably going to have 5 pages of that. So it'll be about 300. At other locations, you'll just kind of include them all together. And then the judges' signatures are for the judges at the drop location. BIPA, Ballot Interference Protection Act, is enjoined. No additional forms are required for voters dropping off other voters' ballots, and there is no cap to the number of ballots that any voter can drop off. If you have a voter who appears at your drop location with a duffel bag full of ballots, you will accept those ballots, record the name of each voter on those ballots, and process them through as normal. You'll record the name on the pink sheet here.
Bradley?
Yep.
This is Tammy. Can we go that drop off roster?
Yep.
We just need one judge to sign it, or do we all have to sign? Does it have to have 2 judges?
We got signature lines for 2 judges.
Okay. Thank
Hey,
you.
Bradley.
Absolutely. Other questions?
Bradley, this is Keith,
Hey, Keith.
and Lori's here too. Can I just make a suggestion that worked real well with us at Lolo is don't touch the ballot. Have them set it in front of you. You write the name so you have it right, and they drop it in.
Yes, absolutely. Everybody's going to have access to masks, gloves, hand sanitizer, cleaners. I want you to do what you feel the most comfortable with. I am absolutely going to recommend the least contact, the better. I know that we have been receiving a lot of ballots, and the drive-throughs are hard because you got to basically grab them from the car window, but we'll have a lot of other options, and the least amount of contact you can do, the better. I want to talk about two other unique situations that we have, and in particular about some security. So, electioneering and observers. Guess what? We will have electioneering and observers for this election as well. Observers are independent people normally designated by a political party to watch that process. They're permitted at any drop location, but they cannot impede the voting process. I've had a very good relationship this year with both of the observer coordinators from both of the major parties. I've been working closely with them. I have not been given a list of locations that they will appear at on election day, but they understand our guidance. They all have a copy of the observer policies that you will have, and they understand and know where to get in where they fit in. Keith, this is for you. Out at Lolo School, I told them there is a hallway in front of the elevator where we will have an ADA voting equipment table, a ballot drop box, and 3 judges. I cannot have you in this location maintaining social distance inside this area. You are more than welcome to observe the process, but I would like you to be outside those doors and coming in if there is a time when voters haven't gone to ask any questions. Electioneering.
I will wear warm clothes.
What's that?
I will wear warm clothes. The observer's outfit, but yeah, it's tight in there.
It is very tight. And so we've been sure to make sure that they're aware. An observer or anybody participating in electioneering is not exempt from mask wearing or social distancing. If
One
there
other
is
question.
Go ahead.
Do we allow Ravalli County in there?
I don't think I understand.
Can we have anybody come up from Ravalli County and be an observer?
Oh, yes, there is no prohibition on observers. Unfortunately, since observers do not have any requirements or credentials, I can guarantee you, you will have observers from out of state at some of our drop-off locations. So other counties, other states, we do not need to check any sort of ID or credentials, but we do have a check-in inside the binders for you. We want to make sure that we have a log, because if you have a problem with an observer, I want to know their name so that when you give me a call, I can call their manager directly and we can refer to the exact individual. You'll also have observer name badges to put on those observers so that it is clear that they are not the person to ask questions to. And then there are extra copies of that observer packet that you can give to them so that they have the same information you have. Now, there's a difference between observers and electioneering. Electioneering is supporting an issue, candidate, or a campaign that is on the ballot currently. No electioneering may take place within 100 feet of any entrance to a polling place. Now, I've been doing a lot of work with the lawyers from our county attorney's office, from the city attorney's office, and from other areas that are allowing us to be drop locations. It has been designated that electioneering is not permitted 100 feet from the end of the line at a drop-off location either. So the same areas apply at the 100 feet from the line as well as the entrance. The biggest place that's going to be an area is here at the election center, and we have worked closely with our staff to ensure that we've got a clear area. Most of your locations will just need to know that 100-foot entrance, so we got you some more of those snazzy 100-foot strings if you have a problem. I want to talk about security concerns. This has been the #1 issue that I have gotten calls from very concerned voters on recently. We always have a clear contingency plan in place. We have worked even more closely this year directly with the city, the county, different building owners, and other jurisdictions like the University of Montana to make sure that there is a clear understanding amongst all of the law enforcement and legal counsels of all of these entities so that we can understand the laws and regulations surrounding Election Day. The most important two laws that I want you to be aware of, to boil them down, is it's illegal to impede the process or to intimidate a voter. Each location is going to have a copy of the observer and electioneering policies. And essentially, this is what I want from you. We're going to pack an umbrella and make sure that by having that umbrella, it's not going to rain on Election Day. We've done that by doing our prep work with the city police, the county sheriff's office, as well as the legal teams involved there, so that they know and understand any certain laws that revolve around impeding or intimidation. If you've got a concern about electioneering or observing, you've got the number in your binder for Brian West, our county attorney deputy that works on election issues, and you've got my number. I can get directly in touch with many of those observers and any candidates. I have contacts within the parties as well as the people whom are scheduling observers. If you have a safety concern, I want you to call 911 and then contact our office. There's been a lot of discussion about armed protests. We have worked very closely to have a clear plan in place. We do not want to challenge anybody ahead of the election. I want you guys to feel confident in knowing that all of our different jurisdictions that may respond know and understand the laws that are in place around this area, and that you will have the utmost of response and the quickest and clearest action from these different organizations. We want to educate people. We don't want to cite people, and we want to make sure that the election day is designated for the voter. The best way to do that is if you have any sort of safety concern, call 911 and then contact our office. I want to see your number on my cell phone 4 times in a row until I get it answered. Questions
Bradley?
about this?
This
Yep.
is Tammy.
Yep.
With the electioneering, I know there's been some issue. If they're just coming in and dropping off their ballot, we probably don't need to make a big deal of it. But there was somebody just a few days ago got fired for not letting somebody with a BLM shirt in, or because that's not considered part of a party. So how do we know, and how do we handle that type of stuff? Do we just let them come in, drop it off, and leave since no one's voting there?
No, by law, these are included under electioneering areas, and you may not have electioneering materials that support a candidate or an issue which is on the ballot. So as you discussed, we are not voting on Black Lives Matter during this election.
So what about the Make America Great shirts and stuff like that?
A trademark slogan for a candidate that is on the ballot. So that is definitely something that supports a candidate on the ballot. We want to ask people politely to turn that inside out, to cover it up. You can give them another mask to put over top of their mask if that's the case. Here's the reality. I want to make sure that it does not impede this process. If that voter is the only person in your building, and it would be quicker for you to take that ballot and issue them out of the building, and it would not influence another voter. Electioneering laws are in place to make sure that we do not influence another voter's vote. If you have a specific question that comes up throughout the day, please call the number in your binder.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Hey, Brad, we've seen several of these trucks with flags on the back. Are those okay?
Yeah, so the trucks with flags are a very interesting issue. It is considered that you can't have those flags necessarily within 100 feet. However, there is a exemption from bumper stickers included in Montana Code annotated. If you have a concern, like there is a truck parked for an extended period of time within 100 feet from your line at a drop location, call that number. We will discuss those concerns. We want to take these item by item, place by place. I do not want to place a blanket rule that says no flags, because if they're driving through there, it may be harder to get them to take that flag down than to have them drop that ballot and leave. We want to take these as a case-by-case area. Call the numbers for Brian or myself in that binder. You've all been given Brian's personal cell phone number. This is because I can be very hard to get in touch with on election day, and Brian and I have spent hours in communication over electioneering laws.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. These are great questions.
Hey, Bradley,
Yes, sir.
you just answered the one question I had, but I have a second question. Have you talked to Marty Ludeman at the university?
Yes, we actually spoke with Brad Griffin, who is Marty's deputy, and had a very good discussion with the jurisdiction of the campus police, as well as their legal team, to make sure that they were aware of all of the laws for election day as well.
Okay.
A few of the other areas are, we reached out to Clint at Clearwater. Some of the specific areas we wanted to know about were what firearm prohibitions exist at private property. And so we have a very clear understanding. I will let you know that no firearms are permitted at any ballot drop-off locations.
Okay.
But yeah, we wanted to make sure that we worked with all of these different jurisdictions. So exit polls. I had somebody doing exit polls here at the election center. You are not required to answer an exit poll, but it is not an illegal process. At a drive-through drop-off location, it's going to be really hard to stop somebody, Vance, after they drop that ballot off. They're ready to leave. Express votes. Tammy, we'll get you in here. Make sure you follow up with me. We'll get you partnered with Nathan. We'll get you some training on that. We also will double check, because we may have scheduled somebody else in who's already gotten that training to help assist you, Tammy. I just want to double check with Marjorie, but we are required to have those set up. They're a fantastic piece of equipment. Have not had one activation card jam inside that machine yet. Pickups. All of the absentee ballots are going to be processed here for signature verification and sent to the counting center. Pickup crews are going to travel throughout the day. They're going to deliver supplies. They're going to pick up those absentee ballots as well as those drop-off logs, and they're going to make sure that they help you with the sealing of that equipment. We're going to have them regularly. I've got them going twice to Sealy Lake. The biggest area for us in getting our results through is how many ballots we have to signature verify and go through our 8-step verification process before counting them to make sure that they are all valid and accurately recorded. So we're trying to get ballots in as readily as possible. Vance, I think we got somebody just ping-ponging back and forth between you, Tom, and here.
I think McCormick is in that loop too.
So at the end of the night, you need a witness when returning supplies. They can either ride with you or follow you. If they're not in the same vehicle and you have ballots in that vehicle, please put them in the back seat, in the trunk. Make sure they're not somewhere where you can access them at a stoplight, and please make sure that you are driving so that that following vehicle can make that next stoplight, can get back here with you, and can see that whole process through. The drop-off location for supplies is going to be here at the election center. It's going to be at the south door, the main office, and we're going to mark off some parking spaces at 8 p.m. so that they are available for you guys at the drop locations. At 8 p.m., we're going to block traffic to enter into the parking lot to help avoid voters who try to come after 8 p.m. to vote. So there will be a traffic director here who you'll check in with, and they'll let you through the line. Once again, elections are under a microscope. We want to make sure that we're following all of the procedures in this training. We've got a great little binder for you. If you don't agree with the procedure, I'm not perfect. I've botched a procedure before. Call us. We'll get clarification. We may fix a procedure. Just don't presume to know the answer. I try and live by this. I don't know, but I can find out. With elections under such a tight microscope, with so many excited voters around this election, we want to do everything we can to help make sure that this is a successful election for voters on election day. Supply pickup is slated from 3 to 5 p.m. at the Record Center. That's 2147 Ernest Avenue. It's across the street from Culligan Water, and it'll be on the east side warehouse door. There's not going to be a meeting, but you'll pick up supplies. Lots of supplies. Because we will be bringing an express vote, a ballot drop box, a tote of supplies, possibly a table and signs. Please be prepared for this. I was going through and updating this from the last manager's training, and I was like, we've limited your supplies so much, you'll love us. For these, it's a little different. So please make sure that you come prepared to pick up all of that equipment. Bobby will swear you in, and then you'll be ready to go for election day. All right, I'm on my last slide. We went through this pretty quick, but I still have some time available for questions.
Hey, Bradley,
Yeah.
it's Kirsten. I just remembered we have one of your ballot boxes. Do you guys need that back for this election?
We don't need it back for this election. You, as well as district court, have quite a few of them. I've got a little sheet. I didn't forget about you.
Okay, great.
But we just wanted to make sure that for space, we use those blue county property bags, because when they get into the driver teams, if they're hitting 3 or 4 locations, we can't shuffle around 3 or 4 of those drop boxes.
Okay, gotcha.
Other questions?
Bradley.
Hey Bradley, this is John Kimball up in Sealy Lake. I'm gonna
Yeah.
pick up the equipment on Monday. Can you tell me what the hours of picking up are?
You bet. It's 3 to 5 p.m.
3 p.m. to 5 p.m.?
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Now, if anything doesn't work, give Bobby a call,
Okay.
and
Brett?
we can help shuffle around a bit.
What tables and chairs are going to be at the sites for the drive-throughs?
The drive-throughs,
Yep.
Yeah.
tents.
Will I need to bring any extra tables and chairs for supplies?
Just chairs, tables, we have, a table. You might want to bring another table to put, oh gosh. I probably should, I don't have 2 tables to give them. Only have the one for the express.
We're gonna get 2 tables and a chair at every drop-off location from party time for you guys.
Okay.
Bradley, this is Kirsten again. I was under the impression there would be 4 people with me at the drive-through site in the morning on Monday. Is that correct?
I am pulling up our scheduler right now for you.
Say that one had the most people because they have a lot more splits.
Yeah, at the McCormick, we expect you guys to be very busy there because we're going to be directing all traffic from here to McCormick.
To there.
Plus the park and rides there.
And the park and ride is located there. There we go, drop off. Yep, we got 4 people there. We're gonna make sure that there's chairs for everybody and tables there. Party
Okay,
time's
so my
gonna help
other
us
question
set up that.
is since all the city employees have the day off, I'm assuming that the McCormick Center is going to be closed down. Where is our bathroom located?
We have gotten a porta potty stationed right next to the outside bathrooms that were just recently winterized.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Brad, this is Jason from Clearwater.
Yeah.
Are you going to include an extension cord, or should I bring one from home for the express votes? I just don't know where the plug is in comparison to where the tent will be.
So the plug is kind of straight back from the tent. It's behind the transformer there. We've got 3 extension cords in your supplies to help make sure.
Okay.
You're one of the very few locations that has an outdoor express vote. I don't know how much it's going to be used, but at the request from Disability Rights Montana, we said we'll do everything we can, and we got express votes at 10 out of our 11 drop-off locations.
Perfect.
Absolutely. And I think I can mark that on your map for you guys there too, Jason. Like
That's
how
fine.
here.
Yep.
Other questions? I think John,
I
you had
wasn't
one.
clear on other county ballots. What do we do with those?
Other county ballots and other state ballots, please do not accept those ballots.
Yeah,
We want to let them know that they are going to need to get that to that county by 8 p.m. today.
That's what I thought.
And
We've not been letting any paper out of Canada.
yep. And that's just general best practice. Be on the lookout for naked ballots, no secrecy envelope, no affirmation envelope. Be on the lookout for ballots just in the blue secrecy. because we will not be able to record that, and it will be easy for you because you're all keeping a log of the voter names. So you will get that blue secrecy and you'll say, what, I need your name. I'm going to need you to put this in an affirmation envelope. And then that'll help you catch out of county ballots too. Yep. So those envelopes have a name and address label that they'll fill out their name and address on if they need one. And then anyone that's out of state or out of county, you want to tell them that they'll need to get that to that county by 8 p.m. today. And you'd be surprised. We had people here at 5 o'clock, and I got the report that they made it to Bozeman in time for the 8 o'clock drop off. And they must have been going a little faster than the speed limit to get there. But I mean, this is your opportunity to help a voter make sure that their ballot gets counted. So it is really important to us that we're on the lookout for those ballots to make sure that we get a chance that those voters can get their ballots counted. It may be a lot harder to get it to Webo than it is to Ravalli, but we want to do everything we can.
Bradley, this is Tammy.
Yeah.
So if they say they didn't get a ballot, we send them down to you guys?
Yes, thank you. So that's the one big area I missed. The only place that a voter can get a ballot is here at the election center. We expect a longer than normal wait time. We can have 12 voters voting in this building. And so depending on the turnout, we may have very long lines. If a voter wants to use the express vote and does not have their blank ballots, they'll need to come here to the election center. So essentially for you guys there, all they can do is drop a ballot off. If they need a replacement, if they need to get issued a new ballot or register to vote, they'll need to come to the election center and they'll need to be in line by 8 p.m.
Hey, Bradley,
Yeah, Tom.
will there be some of the voter guides available? I mean, at the primary election at the fairgrounds, there were some folks that voted, before they dropped their ballot off.
Yeah, we can make sure that happens. We've got a lot of those. I think
it would be good to have at least a half a dozen or so.
Yeah, we can get you a little bundle of them. I mean, most voters will be there to drop off, but by golly, if we can spare somebody coming here for any reason on election day, we want to do that.
Bradley, this is Jeff. Just to make sure I'm clear on this. If a person who wants to use the express vote comes to our drop-off station and they do not have a ballot, we cannot let them vote. They can't just show up and say, I'm disabled and I want to vote. They have to be going down to you for that.
That's correct. Because these are activation card and not a ballot, they need to get issued that ballot to go with that activation card, and they need to come here.
Okay.
What other areas am I missing? I really like being on this meeting with the A team here, guys. You're awesome.
So
Is there anything with write-in ballots? If people are going to vote their ballot, it seems like I remember that we had to have a list of who was write-ins, but we probably don't need that this time.
They're not required at a drop-off location. There are some qualified write-in candidates. I would direct them to contact the elections office for those. I'll make sure that they're here, but I don't want to be giving those to everybody there because my big goal with drop locations is whenever possible, less than 15 minutes of close contact.
That's right. Sounds good.
So yes.
We also have water, so nobody has to take their mask off to lick.
Yep. So Bobby also let us know that we're going to have some of the envelope sealers. If somebody needs to vote there, use the express vote, or would like to vote in that building for you,
Their envelope.
they don't have their envelope, they mess it up. We've got envelope sealers, so you don't need to lick envelopes.
Wonderful. Fewer paper cuts.
Oh man, we're working hard at it. The big reality is, and I think that John and Vance here can really echo this, drop-off locations are fun. This is voters making sure their ballots get cast. You are the face of the elections office when you're at these drop locations.
We have stickers too.
We've got extra I voted stickers. We've
And
got
future voters.
future voter stickers for the little ones.
You might want to bring doggy treats for the dogs.
I got a case of doggy treats that were donated by ACE, and I'll make sure we get some into all your drop-off areas. This is helping make sure that voters are successful. We want to encourage voters that when they drop their ballot off here, it's in good hands with the elections office. You all are the people that they think of, Jeff. When they think of elections, they think of you, the people working at these election drop locations. And we want you to represent the elections office like we know you will, and we want you to enjoy this process as well.
You might think about bringing headlamps for the tents. The lanterns might not be bright enough.
Yes, so what Bobby just mentioned is we're going to have some lanterns for our 4 outside drop-off locations. If you have a headlamp or something in addition, that will be a very helpful area because it is going to be getting dark at about 6 o'clock.
And probably the temperature will drop a little about that time too.
Absolutely.
We have the propane heaters.
Yep, and we got those propane heaters for you. They can be in the middle of the tent. Keep
Not on high.
Don't put them up to high. Don't melt those tents. But we want to keep you as safe, healthy, warm. And thank you guys so much. I've been saying this a lot. It takes a village to run elections. And I've been saying that for the 5 years I've worked here with this department. And I am feeling it so much this year. We can't run elections without people like you. Thank you so much. As we close this out, I'm going to take this recording and make sure we get it. I see we got quite a few people on the calls here, so you can see all of these slides. If you got questions, reach out to Bobby, myself, or Marjorie. I'm going to turn around and I'm going to ask Marjorie to send you out a list of all the people working in your locations. These will not be the final list as changes are happening rapidly in this current environment. You'll get those final lists on Monday at 3. Anything else I'm missing, guys?
Hey, Bradley, I just have one quick question. The people that will be working with me at my drop-off location, have they done any sort of recent training?
Everybody has been trained this year, either at the beginning of the year to go through it, or we held that September training online where we went through a lot of these very similar slides.
Okay, great. Thanks.
You bet.
I just checked the weather. The high on Tuesday is going to be 55 degrees.
I know.
So balmy.
Today, when we were out and it was the peak of the weather, everybody was smiling at the drive-through. The cars were so happy. We are running drive-through drop-off now for the next 7 minutes. I'll tell you what, it's getting chilly out there. Early morning, late evenings, please, if you're outside, make sure you have layers. Guys, without any further ado, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to get this recording out to everybody. If you have anything, any other questions, don't hesitate to reach out. And one more time, from the bottom of our heart, everybody here at Elections, thank you so much.
Thanks for all you guys do.
You're great.
Thanks, Bradley.
Thanks a lot, Brad. Thanks,
Bradley.
Good luck.
Does Bobby want me to call her or?
Yeah, give Bobby a call.
Okay, will do.
If you have an email address that I can find, yeah, call me and I'll get you that code.
Okay.
Thanks again, guys.